Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight, and my guest tonight is filmmaker Eric. How do I pronounce your last name? I don't want to...
Pascarelli.
Pascarelli. Actor James Tackett. Actress Daisy Hickey. Actress Leanne Johnson. Thank you for coming on tonight.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right, your film, I just watched it last night, called Dracula, The Count's Kin. When I was going into it, I thought it was going to be a horror film, but it's more like a noir thriller about a serial killer vampire who's over 600 years old.
She looks good for 600, doesn't she?
Leanne, I just want to tell you something. You nailed your role as Countess Elizabeth, man. You had me at the edge of my seat. I mean, like your facial expressions, that sinister smile, and how you can entice everybody just to watch you. Like, it felt like when you were as a vampire putting people in trances, I felt like I was in a trance too while you were trying to take your victims.
Oh, thank you. Eric just said, "Come as yourself." So
there's no acting involved.
So,
method.
So Eric, was Leanne your first pick for Countess Elizabeth?
Yeah, I think I kind of came up with the idea January of 2023, and I was thinking, I want to do a Dracula movie, but I need a lady Dracula, and it was really just, I just had her in mind for that. So I didn't audition anyone else or anything for it.
He wrote the role for me, is what he's saying.
Yes.
Now let's go to Daisy and James. You guys play a private detective, and you're his private detective assistant, trying to solve the murder of Simon and all these missing guys who go on these dates with somebody mysterious you're trying to figure out. And the thing about it is, I love the chemistry between you guys. You guys played off each other well. So before you guys did this film, did you guys know each other?
We did not.
No, we did not.
We met in the parking lot of the mansion. the first morning we shot. We pulled up at the same time, and I said, "Hey, are you in this movie too?"
Yep, and I said, "I sure am." And as I'm loading out all of my costumes and everything, because we were staying at that location for like 4 days. So yeah, that's how we met.
She had like 4 big trunks that I said, "Don't think I'm helping you carry those in either."
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't offer. That was my first impression of him. So I'm glad that it looked like we had chemistry in the movie, because in real life.
And that house, I guess it's hard to tell due to movie magic, but a lot of the things were filmed in one big house in Shelbyville, Indiana, and it was an Airbnb. So we filmed there for like 4 straight days, or I think more, whatever. And so whoever wanted to basically stayed there, and so it created a nice sort of atmosphere. I think I only stayed 1 day. I think that's. Oh, really? I stayed 1 day. Okay, sure.
Hey, I like that mansion. It had that Victorian look. It kind of reminded me of the Winchester mansion back in Sacramento a little bit. It gave me that Winchester vibe to it when you guys were filming it.
And it had a tunnel, which we had a few scenes in, like an unfinished tunnel in the basement, where we were able to shoot some stuff. It was just had the most bizarre things in that house, and it was really good because it had new things and old things, and it was kind of perfect.
So how'd you come up with the story? Was this like based off your life experience, having bad dates or anything like that?
No, I think it was just basic, like, I want Dracula, and I think it should be a lady Dracula. It could be like Dracula's sister seeking revenge for what happened. That's kind of what the idea was for a while. Yeah.
Daisy, your character, you play Monica Gibson. So, did you have any inspiration for that character? Because I kind of got a little bit of Agent Scully, a little bit in your character.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do enjoy the genre of noir and just things with detectives and that sort of stuff. So that's always been, and honestly, if I ever had a second career, I would in real life, I would love to be a detective. So I don't know if I necessarily pulled from any specific character that we already know about but I think I kind of just really enjoyed the character because I've always wanted to be a detective, really. So.
Yeah, you did a pretty good job. It was convincing. So, did you do a little bit of research about being a detective a little bit?
Yeah, kind of, but not. I didn't put too much thought into that, honestly. Of like, what should a detective be? Because really, the character doesn't start out as a detective. She's very much hasn't lived that world ever, even though she's always wanted to. So really, I approached it as someone who had a knowledge base because of her college experience or whatever, but I didn't want it to go in like she knew everything. I mean, she does have, she's a smart person and capable and everything, but I wanted it to, for her to go in a little bit naive. So yeah, that's how I tried to portray it.
And also, another great actress in the film, you worked with Daisy too. You guys had that great chemistry, was Holly, who played Devin. I mean, you guys just pulled it off. I mean, it just felt like you guys were like best friends forever.
Yeah, thank you. I had known Holly before, but I'd never worked with her. So I was actually really excited to have those scenes with her and to have her be my character's best friend so that we could have that chemistry. And I feel like we really pulled it off. And in real life, Holly and I, we get along really well. And I think we just naturally have that chemistry. So I'm glad it translated onto film as well.
So, James, tell us a little bit about your character and how'd you become part of the film?
I don't know. I was in the right place at the right time, I guess. I don't know.
Blackmail.
No, it was... Eric told me just the basic concept I think he had of the film and, just kind of, hey, I'd like you to read for this guy and just kind of give your take on some of the nuances of what this character might be like. So I read for him, and he said, hey, you want a job? Yeah, sure. I said, wait, is Leanne in this? Well, I'll still take it, I
guess. So there was a rumor that Eric took a scene out of it where James was naked, but they had to use CGI to cover him up.
I don't know who said that. I don't know.
We can't talk about that.
I don't know who said that.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Director.
Yeah, we definitely signed some NDAs. So
yes, very, very high-profile NDAs.
That mansion we filmed in saw a lot of things.
That mansion you were in, I like the historic about some places. I've talked to a lot of filmmakers that would film in old houses like that, where they've experienced like paranormal happenings going around the set. Did you guys? Is that place like haunted, or did you see anything? I mean, since it looks like in a very old mansion, I mean, some places are like that.
So, I actually stayed there, and because I lived like 2 hours away from that location, so I actually was one of the actors that stayed at the Airbnb upstairs. Mm-hmm. So I was there for all 4 days, and no, I did not get a sense or feeling of anything haunted or anything. Honestly, even when we were upstairs in the weird attic, and when we were down in the basement, it was just beautiful. But I do not think there was any haunting things going on.
I will say, at the stroke of midnight, I would hear a scratching at my door. And I kept waiting, and it wouldn't go away. And I would finally have to say, Daisy, everyone's asleep, go to bed. And the scratching would stop.
Yeah,
Ghost?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I felt the creepiest thing in that house was James.
Yeah.
Totally.
So, in fact, I think I might have ghosted him a few times just to get him to leave me alone.
Now, Leanne, let's go to your role. You played the vampire. So did you put any, was there any inspiration in your character to play this, evil Countess Vampire? I mean, because
Yes.
you did a convincing job that you were legit a vampire.
Well, thank you. So part of it was inspiration from Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman. I think that was the vibe and the feel that I wanted for Elizabeth. And there was something more that she wanted. It wasn't just, the sexual allure of like vampire lore, but there was actually something that she wanted. And I think that when you have a motivation as a character, that kind of is communicated in every scene through the eyes, is that, yeah, she's bloodlust, like, absolutely. But why is she still feeding? Like, what is her motivation? What does she want? And so that was the appealing part of the script for me. And also that I felt that it was an opportunity to kind of give a nod to Bram Stoker's Dracula and Gary Oldman, but with a female Dracula.
Now, Eric, I love some of the camera shots you had in the film. A great pan shot. I love the shot where Leanne, Elizabeth, was laying in the casket, how you filmed it like a upside down slant a little bit. I just loved that zoom in. It just felt like intimate and, eerie at the same time, just zooming in at this vampire. I just love that zoom shot.
Yeah, that was, I think that only happened because I couldn't do a front, it was like her head upside down, because I was able to get the tripod a lot more easily over her head from that way, because if I did the other way, her body's in the way. So it was like, okay, we can just film it with her head. Yeah.
I mean, that was an excellent shot. I mean, that was pure genius. I didn't know you were trying to do it. I thought it was like you did that like on purpose to, feel that, like when the cameras, you zoom in, right. It was just a great shot.
I like to do a lot of slow zoom ins. I like to do close ups. A lot of things just happen. I mean, I planned every shot a lot, but then some things just happen. You have to quickly figure out a different shot. And I care a lot about the shots more than most things, probably. Yeah.
Now, Leanne, how much fun did you have when you were covered in all that blood?
Oh, so that was an idea that I had. And one of the fun things about working with Eric is that he's a very collaborative director and he has a lot of trust in his actors. And so that was a trash the dress end of the night scene where I said, let's just pour all this blood over her and do the same scene, but with blood pouring down all over her. And so it was just myself, Eric, and our makeup artist at the time for that shot. And pretty much everything they told me not to do, I did. Like, I let it get in my mouth and my eyes. And they're like, don't, all the... And I was like, okay. But we only had one take. So, for that shot. So that was kind of one of those ones where you're just all in. And you don't know what's going to happen, but you go for it. And you hope that the audience is going to love it, because it was very a nod to, some of those earlier Dracula movies where it's, very horrific and kind of fantastical. So that was a fun scene to do. And it was very cold that night. It was freezing cold. So it was worth it, though.
I bet it was. And I bet all that blood stuck on you because of the cold, too. I bet it just felt weird.
Yeah, it did. It was quite a lengthy shower.
Now let's go back to Daisy, who, plays Monica Gibson. You're solving the mystery, of Simon's death, but you also find out a family history about you and about your parents. And I love how you get the character where you kept the audience, like involved with you. It was like you kept on teasing here and there in the scene. It's like, is she getting closer to find out? And then when you had your scenes with Elizabeth, that's when everything started going crazy, finding out your true story. And I just love the tense moments between you guys, especially when you guys were down in the basement. It just felt like it was really tense behind you guys. It felt like you guys were going to really kill each other.
Well, yeah, so Leanne was the same as Holly. Like, I had known Leanne prior to filming this, but I'd never worked with her. So I was just really excited to work with Leanne. And kind of the same thing with Holly. Like, I'm just glad that we had that natural chemistry. And I think we had so much fun with those scenes. And I feel like she was giving such a fantastic, committed performance that it really helped me also get into that committed performance of reacting to her and the craziness that I'm seeing in front of me, and how she's portraying. I'm not saying you're crazy, Leanne. I'm just saying the character.
That's what I heard.
So yeah, just being able to act opposite someone who's so fully committed like that really just made my job easier as well. So really, yeah, those feelings of being scared or emotional or whatever, like, I was able to get there as an actor and really commit to it.
I mean, you guys did a pretty good job how you guys really, connected like that, solving the history and, finding out she's a vampire and stuff. And Eric, how'd you do the shot when Daisy's character was in the basement with Leanna's character Elizabeth? How she was like, walking around, and all of a sudden Elizabeth is right behind her back, just like real quick, like it was like magic. How'd you do that where she was just right behind her like that?
Just so I was in the Indianapolis catacombs, which is a cool lead-filled place. And
we all signed waivers.
And it's not open anymore. We were like the last people to do anything down there. But yeah, no, that was just basic. Just some camera tricks and stuff like that. Yeah, it was an idea I had for a while of just like having her have the ability to have some sort of supernatural abilities to zoom around places really quick. But yeah. That stuff, and like a lot of the transitions are just things that I had to sort of plan out a lot in advance, and that stuff is kind of important to me, so it was fun to do.
I think it's good because Leanne played a good vampire, and I love how you did everything supernatural about her in the film, like the certain shots and how she would move quick, like a legit vampire. If a vampire was really here in modern days, that's how a vampire move around. And I just love how you made Elizabeth just so frightening like that. Now let's talk about another actress who was in the film. I know her real well. Let's talk about Chloe. She played a podcaster in the film, like when going around about serial killers and all that. How'd you get her into the film? I loved her role. It was funny and serious at the same time.
Yeah, I think I had seen her around in some, because I think she kind of started recently, because she's pretty young. And I saw her in a couple of things locally, and I was like, oh, that would be kind of perfect for her. I usually like to have that sort of character in a movie, just like something off the wall a little bit, to just appear, midway through the movie, like, oh, there's another thing in this movie. But yeah, we filmed a lot of her scenes. Like, there's a place in Indianapolis called Selfie World where people, like influencers or whatever, you can go and there's like a lot of actual like backgrounds and places where you can take pictures and whatnot. So I was like, oh, I really do need to have like a podcaster in this movie, so that way I can use this space for something.
She played a convincing influencer, because I can see an influencer today actually, thinking they're a detective, actually going to these scary places where these serial killers are, being like very amateurish. They don't know what they're getting into, and then them getting in trouble. She played that influencer to a T. That's what a real influencer would do anyway.
Yeah, I think she's very talented, and it's tricky because I like those roles, but like I feel like those things are becoming more common. Where like, oh, the podcaster is trying to solve the mystery. Mm-hmm. I feel like that plot line is starting to happen a lot more, so I need to be careful with that in the future. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting perspective.
Yeah, Chloe had a lot of great scenes with Daisy and Leanne. So let's talk about the scene with Leanne and Chloe, the part where you're in the basement, and she's just down in the basement going, I'm just a little influencer. I think there's vampires. I'm gonna see if I can solve this mystery. And you're walking around, and all of a sudden you just see Elizabeth like creepy crawling real quick right behind her with that zoom shot where you see her blood red eyes, and those little fangs getting ready to devour. That was a beautiful shot.
Yeah, it was more like, hey, Eric, do you think I can...
A lot. She does.
Yeah, that's normally how I get around. I crawl around, Walking is so, like... Yeah, but no, I was like, Eric, do you think I'll fit in there? Like, it's like... Yeah, I was like, and so just crawled up in that space, but Eric had ideas about the crawlings. Again, that was a very, like, Bram Stoker's Dracula thing to do, and we really liked that idea. And then I was like, I wonder if I could fit in that crawl space. And so that's just kind of, it ended up working out. And then I talked with Chloe, and was like, and this was with Daisy too, and pretty much any actor or actress that I was very close to in the scene was, we had a table read, and there was also opportunity to discuss, like, what are you comfortable with? Because this vampire is all up in their business, and, so it was really about communicating with the other actors about, like, what do you think about this idea? And do you like, what do you think about this? And people were very gung-ho about making it as realistic and fun and creepy as possible. So yeah, I fit in the crawl space, and then we did it a few times, and we just had to make sure that nobody was unsafe, and that was made the shot. It was fun.
Now, Eric, let's talk about the film score. Who did your score in the film?
Her name is Margie Hayes. She's in Brooklyn, and yeah, I basically just found her online and liked some of the things she did. Music is very important to me. I never had someone score a movie before, so I was just very excited to do something like that. And an inspiration for me was kind of like Hitchcockian music. And so I kind of just told her, like, I like the Hitchcockian movie music a lot, and to just do what you can to emulate that. But it's very tricky for, like, tiny budget movies to get sound like that, because, like, I don't have an orchestra. And so that's something that is just always tricky to emulate, because, all of that for these budget movies are just, like, on a keyboard versus having, live musicians.
So, since this was like an indie film, were there certain scenes that you wanted to add, but you had to cut out that you would have loved to put into the film, or was everything all your just one takes?
So when I write movies, I write them in mind of, I write them very conservatively in terms of, can I film that easily in a location that I know? I always kind of plan in advance for that sort of thing, because I feel like a lot of people make the mistake of writing things that are like too big, and then they get overwhelmed, and then they just never make the movie in the first place. So I always just try to write what I know I can do. But yeah, I don't think we had any issues with that at all, because the weather was really good the entire time too. Yeah, everything worked out pretty well, I think.
That's pretty good. And how it ended with Monica's character, it seemed like it left an ending for like a part 2. So are we going to see what happens with Monica? I'm not going to spoil nothing, how it ended, for, Monica's character. So is there going to be a little bit more of a story to see what Monica's going to be doing next?
Yeah, Eric, is there going to be another one?
It would be really cool. I think it would be cool to do a sequel. Yeah, I have to see if the movie makes any money. And
that's important, yeah.
Yes. If it manages to like break even or make money on streaming over the next, 6 months or something, then that's something to look at.
Yeah, because that scene with Daisy's character, how it ended, where you saw, it was just a perfect ending. It was like a perfect, like satisfaction for her character on how it ended, and the way, how she portrayed it. It kind of teased the audience, like me, going, okay, there better be something. I want to see what happens after this. Why does it have to end now? I want to see where it goes, like the next day.
Yeah. Yes, we shall see. We shall see what happens. It would be cool to do a sequel. And all that matters is, I guess, the money at this point.
So, James, since you were in the film too, what was like a memorable moment for you? Playing your character in the film. Did you have that memorable moment that you just remember?
I really liked, the aspects of playing that Walter character was kind of, I just liked getting into his head and doing that, because he thinks he's a really successful detective, but he's really, he's jaded. He's done all this. He's kind of done with it. I'm bringing along a protege. And in my head, I kind of thought, I want a protege to really make her do all the work, and I'm just going to sit in the office. But so I kind of like that aspect of just doing that, doing the stuff in the office with Daisy and then Amanda. And I don't know, I thought that was really fun to do that.
Now, this is a question I always ask my guests, okay? If all four of you guys were in a horror film, which one would be like the final girl? Which one would be the instigator? Which one would die first?
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to begin with that.
I like to dish, so maybe I'd be the instigator.
Right there.
All right, who would be the killer and who would be the final girl?
Okay, I'm just going to volunteer that I would probably die first. And first of all, because everybody remembers the first kill in a horror movie. So, I mean, that was my whole, obsession with the Scream and Drew Barrymore. I was like, oh, nobody would expect, I love it. But I just think, I would either try to really save everybody, and do something very impulsive that was probably not the best idea. And that's typically my personality. So as much as I like to say that I'd be final girl, I would put my money on Daisy, because I think she's more observant and wise. I would be like, yeah, let's do that. I'm humble to admit that.
Yeah. I guess knowing my personality, Leanne, you're probably right. I probably would have the awareness and instincts to figure out how to survive, probably. You never know.
Which makes James the murderer.
Oh, James. Yep. I can see that.
Oh, how did that happen? Hey.
I can see James being the crazy murderer, with that sinister smile and that, that diabolical laugh. And I can just see him with, this all kinds of weaponry, he's just going out for the fun of it and sport. He's like, They think I'm friends with them, but I really secretly want to kill them. That's why I lured them out here. So let's use some weaponry. And I can see James with a big chainsaw, like slicing Leanne in half. And then Daisy's outsmarting him, and then he gets
one more night at the mansion. That might have happened. Who knows?
And then he would go after Eric. It's like have him just to shut up because he's like instigating all that. So he would think of some kind of clever, brutal kill on Eric. So that would be a perfect horror film.
I get the chainsaw, and you get something creative. This is. That's just.
How about an old style egg beater? What does those things that do that? That's.
Oh, if you're gonna do that, Daisy can just get a cheese grater. Daisy can get a cheese grater and start grating your forehead and face until it bleeds.
Oh, good lord! Yeah, I have one in my kitchen. I'll bring it.
Look in that square. Eric's writing all this down. Look.
I feel like we've gone into a cooking show. We've got a cheese grater and an egg beater. Like, spatulas? Like, you just slap,
I used to be able to do a really good Julia Child, but I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. So, Eric, what's your next project?
I have to kind of see what happens again with money. I've kind of, because like you have different goals. I've done, this is the third feature in like 3 years. I have to kind of see what is next. I've been working a lot on another screenplay, and I've been locationing around a bit. I definitely have a strong idea, but I'm going to kind of see how the next couple of months go on if I want to really go through it.
So, Leanne, what are some of your next projects, and have you been in horror films? I know you have, because I can tell you have a morbid mind.
Wow.
Well, so first of all, thank you. That's very nice of you to say. Have not heard that one yet. But I'm going to be, so apparently, if Eric's making another movie, I'm going to be in that one, because we have a multiverse, Eric. Between all your feature films, there's a multiverse happening.
I love multiverse movies.
I think if I'm trying to think of horror movies that I've been in, I really liked this film because it was a mystery noir. I typically am not a huge fan of horror movies because it scares me to watch them. So I do like suspense. I do like thrillers. Which is why I really like this script. And so that's why I signed up for it. But I was in a feature film that hasn't been released yet, called Dormant Evil, was at least the working title for it. It was filmed in Michigan, and it was a period piece. And,
nice.
And so in that I play a woman of the night who sells flowers on the street in the daytime. And anyway, her victim is the perpetrator is also a serial killer. And there was a really cool dungeony scene, and there was all the fun stuff you get to do, like dying on camera and stuff like that. It was really, really fun. Aside from that, I'm not really a horror film actress, I could say. It's not my favorite genre to do, but it has to be a good script, which I guess I'm not saying horror movies are bad scripts, but I do like the script on this one, and the story and the mystery and the suspense. So that really grabbed me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I liked this film too. It was just different with vampires, noir. I really enjoyed it. Some people probably would get into it. It's like, okay, where's all the horror? But a good horror film is always good. You don't always have to have blood and guts. You can have, like psychological value. I mean, by using the film score, you can use that as a character, or like, certain kills, you don't have to show that kill. You just know that's going to happen. You can just think, see, I love movies like that. So, Daisy, what are some of your next projects you're going to be in?
Next projects that I'm going to be in. So I just finished on a short film called A Different Kind of War. So that'll obviously be in post for however long. So I don't really know. I'm assuming that'll go festival circuit and whatnot. So I don't know when that will come out though. And then otherwise, performance and acting wise, I don't have any other gigs lined up at the moment. But I am also a visual artist, so I do have an art show coming up. So that's actually what I'm focusing on.
Oh,
right
you're
now,
a visual.
Preparing my art for art.
That's awesome. I love visual artists. That's awesome. I'm a big comic book fan, and there's a lot of great comic artists. And I love how some of them nowadays do that visual feeling where it feels it's lifelike off the comic page. I mean, I love visual art. It depends what you're doing in visual art. I mean, there's a lot of great visual artists out there.
Yeah, thanks. And it really, because I also am as well a writer and director. Mm-hmm. So I have had projects that have been in festivals and whatnot. I don't have anything written right now that I'm producing at the moment, but so I feel like me being a performer my whole life, and then also a visual artist, has really lend itself well, like marrying those things together to be an effective director in film. So yeah, so I feel like all of my things I like to do have really culminated to this. But yeah, so otherwise, in terms of other projects, nothing else coming up. Although, as Leanne was talking about previous horror films she was in,
yeah,
I was going through my mind and thinking about ones I've been in. So there's a 3-minute micro short called Knock 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 that I was in.
Okay, I gotta check that out.
Yep, and then there's another one coming out this coming 2025. They just dropped a trailer, I think, this week called From Darkness, and that's a horror film out of Fort Wayne from Open Sign Productions. And that one actually has been in production for so long, I kind of forgot about it. So when they dropped the trailer this week, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in that one. Because I filmed my part for that was so long ago. But anyways, that's yeah, right. And so that one is a true horror film, because that's what that production company likes to do. You know, all that stuff. And what's funny is now, am I getting typecast? Because guess what I played in that film? I'm like a detective, like boss lady, whatever. So there you go.
Now, James, when you're not acting in front of the camera, do you have a geek? Do you have a geek passion, or that passion that you really enjoy when you're not in film?
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I used to be really heavy into martial arts. I did all that, like, threw myself into it. I was crazy into it.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. I did Shaolin Kung Fu, did Hapkido, did all the tournament fightings and all that stuff. I got scars to show. But yeah, I don't know. I read a lot. I have an art degree. That's Daisy. I draw sometimes. I don't know. I read detective novels. I read sci-fi novels. Things like that.
So
you're in front of a Dracula poster. Our movie. Can you move your head a little bit? Yeah, that's not even the current poster. I don't even know.
That's the one he liked.
Yeah, I don't even know how you acquired
that. Was the sexy version.
Hey, that's the version where Eric took out. That was the version where Eric took out when James was naked in the film, but he took that out.
Oh my gosh!
You need a really big poster for that one.
Shoot, I better bust out the magnifying glass for that one.
But I have to tell you, Robin, so James and I are in a movie that just hit the festival circuit. Okay. Will be coming out with distribution later this year, called Extraction USA. And he does play a pool hustler, as do I. But yeah, it's a pool hustling heist movie called Extraction USA, and I'm the producer on that. So, and we both acted it. And I remember there was one scene we're filming, because James and I worked together a lot, where he takes my hand and shakes it, and he holds on to it. And it would have been creepy for everybody on set, and it was his character. And it was great because we just improvised, played off of it. And then I remember our UPM coming up and be like, did he make you feel uncomfortable with that? But because James and I are so used to working with each other, it actually looked really real. But yeah, we really have a good time on set. So we've been in a few things together. So really proud of everybody on this production.
I definitely have to check that out. One last question. This is for Daisy. Since you're a writer, like filmmaker a little bit, Have you what's that ideal horror film if you had a chance to write it? What type of horror would it be if someone offered that to you?
Ooh, like where like in the first 5 minutes there's a jump scare and then it's scary as shit the whole time. and like chase scenes and so where I live, it's in kind of where we have like a wooded lot, and my mind is just always racing. Like if I use my house as like the set and like my backyard with the woods and the fire pit and everything, like how cool and crazy could I make it by like using this like location that I already have? So yeah, it would be very psychological. I like to, when I write, I like to make people think, and I don't like to give the story away. So there would be twists and turns and all kinds of stuff.
And a hot tub scene.
And a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Chainsaws, definitely. And then obviously James and Leanne would be in it, for sure.
In the hot tub with the chainsaw?
Well, as long as it's not plugged in.
Okay, because that would be dangerous, aside from that.
Yes, otherwise
I mean, think about it. That hot tub gets too hot, you close the lid on them. Like, this could be really intense. Yeah, we're going there.
Hey, I would go to a film festival and pay to see that.
There you go, Daisy. All right, Robin's gonna fund your movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna fund. Yeah, I'm gonna fund your movie. I'm gonna pull it out of my magic hat and just throw you the cash and do it.
Perfect. Thank you. But Eric, sorry, real quick. I have a movie idea for you. James as a retired martial artist and his world and what that would look like. I think that'd be a badass movie to watch.
It looks kind of like this.
Yeah, it looks like
That would be wild. I would see that. Picture him being a martial artist, and then everything he thinks really comes in real life, and it makes it a whole crazy. I could see that. That'd be a good film.
I could still smash concrete if you want me to.
Ooh, can ya? How about brick blocks?
Brick block. Ooh, that might be tough. I might be able to do that still. I don't know. I still have all my stuff. I still have my sword and my nunchucks. I still have all of it, so we could do it.
I would pay to see that. I would like to see like Daisy ride it, and I like to see Leanne in it too. But we'd make her like a bride-like type of character from Kill Bill, where she's in this like flashy jumpsuit, and then and then you can just have that fight scene between them. Like she's like the antagonizer, and trying to
Only she really hits me a lot.
Yeah. Only with his permission.
Yeah, but that was in Leanne's rider. She was only going to take the role if she was allowed to hit him a certain number of times. And so I said, yeah, of course.
There you go.
Yeah, I had consent.
yeah.
Now, yeah, speaking of psychological, like thriller and horror films, which you're talking about, Daisy, I just watched one. It was called Let's Scare Jessica to Death. It was like a 71 film. And it was about this girl and her hippie husband. They moved to this small farmhouse on this creepy town. I know James has seen it. And she came out of a mental institution, and everything starts getting like real crazy, and she sees all these like messed up like apparitions and stuff like that. If you want a psychological horror like that and write one like that, watch that film. You get some crazy ideas.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
All right. So where can everybody find you guys on social media to see what you guys are doing next?
Yeah.
Good one.
You have to put at before that. There you go. How do you spell that?
I have a film website that I update somewhat. It's just pascarelli.pictures.com. Yeah, I'm sure they can see me on the internet somewhere. I don't know.
Okay, and you, Daisy?
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook under Daisy Perosi Hickey. So DaissyPeroczky.
What?
And you, Leanne, where can everybody find you?
Oh, you can just Google me and I'll pop up I'm just kidding. So, Leanne Johnson, actor.
I'll put her phone number.
No. Leanne Johnson, actor on Facebook. Leanne Johnson Official on Instagram and TikTok. And then I also have a website, leannejohnsonofficial.com. So, so you can connect, you can see reels and current projects I'm working on. And I'm also happy to audition for projects if there are filmmakers that are looking to cast.
Nice. And you, James?
Yeah, I guess you could, I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I'm working on my OnlyFans page, so that'll be up soon. Everybody check that out.
So on your OnlyFans page, are you going to just only show your feet?
Please put your credit card number in and you'll find out.
Since James has Leanne's number, are you gonna crank call her like in a seductive voice and be like,
I'm not sure that James is wearing pants right now. The way that this camera is.
Should I?
No. Wait. Oh my gosh.
You guys, thank you so much for coming on. It was a blast.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, this was an interesting podcast for sure.
We're professionals, Eric.
Hey,
are you going to do this video? Are you going to post this video?
It's audio.
It's this is just for us?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Open it right now.
All right. Everybody, thank you for listening to Horror.
Like a T-Rex.
Everybody, thank you for listening to Horror Pop After Midnight. Have a great evening.